Hello fruit faces, and welcome to my video where I'm talking about some more of the specifics of this Mio Paleo diet that I'm going to be talking about. That's what I'm going to call my diet from here on out. Mio Paleo, it technically would be Mio Paleo, like I said in the last video, but I'm going to tell you the specifics about it and what it actually means. A lot of it's going to sound really familiar because I've been basically doing the same thing for a while now. I'm not veering off the road. It sounds like a brand new diet, but it's really largely based off of raw till 4. I just don't want to have a big differentiation between raw and cooked because I feel like when I focus on raw too much, I lose track. And mainly, like I've been talking about for years now, every time I try to go raw, I end up gaining weight because I don't eat enough calories and then I binge on something that's too high fat. So for me, it's not about raw or cooked at all. I can do actually better on a cooked diet, and I know a lot of people do that. For some people, raw foods is actually really bloating. So I don't want to make that differentiation. And also I feel like if you, and I just talked about this recently in a couple of other videos, if you eat more of a really healthy food when it's cooked, like say broccoli, if you used to have steamed broccoli and you'll eat a whole bowl of it and you have a bowl of raw broccoli that you'll never touch, well then you should definitely be eating the cooked broccoli. When people do well on raw, the reason is because of what they're cutting out. It's kind of like paleo. The paleo diet can help people. It really can. And that's because it's only because their diet prior to that is so bad. That's the same thing with the Mediterranean diet with oils. I don't believe in oils, but if you switch from butter and stuff, of course it's going to be better for you. But does that mean it's the most optimal diet? No. So keep that in mind when you're hearing about studies or cases where, oh, I lost this much weight. I mean, anytime you take a standard American diet and cut out certain things, you're going to lose weight probably. So anyway, the Mio Paleo is based off of apes, like I was saying in the last video, because this is where our species came from. We came from apes, and apes are frugivores, and we have 98% of DNA shared with them, and our guts are the same as theirs, largely. So yeah, 50% fruit, 40% greens, leafy greens. And then the 10%, this is directly based off of like most like primates diets, that extra 10% for apes, it's going to be like bark, pith, which is like, think about the white part on a grapefruit. Like the white part would be the pith, but in a lot of fruits that they're eating, it might be harder. And then bark is like also very similar to that. So that's again where the differences on the ape's digestive system comes in, is because they're eating a lot more fibrous stuff that's really, really hard to digest, and also like shoots. And one of the other things to keep in mind is that they also eat a lot of unripe fruit. And I'm not telling people to do this, but since their fruit, if you take the 50% fruit that they're eating, about half of that is going to actually be unripe fruit. Basically, if you were to substitute in sweet potatoes, pumpkin, things like that, things that are still very, very clean, very, very high carbs, even if you're cooking them, I think they are more right in there. I think they're just good as, you know what I mean? I don't think like raw till 4, they should be like bumped down below, because these apes are eating so much unripe fruit that's basically just like starch. It's starchy fibers. So that's why I believe that it should be, my little diagram here, 50%. 50, like you could eat, that's why I say eat the rice, eat the beans, the squash, the pumpkin, whatever. And if you have to, eat the pasta and like I said, the rice or crackers or whatever. The thing is your body will self-regulate. If you start eating crackers, okay, I've got 250 calories of crackers, so I eat 500 calories worth of crackers, your body is naturally going to say, okay, give me some real food, but at least you got those calories. It's kind of like Dorian Ryder's sugar thing, which I'm also not against. Talk about that more in the next video. I will say that we are capable of eating a lot of different types of things, and that is okay. That means that you don't have to stay on a super strict plan. You don't have to, like Raw Till 4 does, like cut out onions, cut out garlic. Of course, if you have a problem with those things, cut them out. If you notice you get bloated or your digestion isn't as well, then yes, consider cutting them out. But for people to give up onions who love onions, then that's really silly. It reminds me of what it seems like the McDougal people do this, and the Forks Over Knives people do this, and they all say, okay, well, a little bit of table salt is fine if it's going to help you, stay on track. And I don't think that's necessary. I think maybe in the beginning and transition, maybe use a little bit of table salt if you need it, of course. But if you're already a vegan for a while, and, you're trying to get as healthy as you can, I definitely don't think I don't think table salt is good. And I'll talk about that too in a minute. But you should be able to use a little bit of onions. See, Raw Till 4 says that, oh, well, you wouldn't want to make a meal out of it, so why eat it? Again, I kind of agree with that and kind of not. But see, I would rather flavor up my food with onions, say take some pico, because it's a whole food. It actually does have nutrients. It does have good qualities. Whereas salt, I realize we need sodium. Before you guys jump on me about that, I realize we need sodium, but I do not believe we need any kind of table salt at all. But then again, I'm not saying that you can't have any on this diet. This is a very lenient type of a plan because, again, we are optimists. I'm not going to say like omnivores because our diets are not made that way, but we are optimists, and we will, if we don't have enough of something, we're going to eat something else. Back to the plan. Frugivores don't need to eat like 90% fruit. You don't need to eat fruit like all day. I really don't feel like you need to have 2/3 of your diet, which is basically what Raw Till 4 says. You should have 1,000-calorie fruit meal, 1,000-calorie fruit meal, and then you can go on to a meal. And that doesn't work for me. That idea just doesn't work for me for two different main reasons. For one, it's because I want savory. After a big ass meal, 1,000 calories of fruit, I want some other fucking savory foods, okay? And yeah, you can make a green smoothie and that's going to balance you out a little bit, but I just need savory foods. And when you're looking at raw foods that are going to fill you up, that are savory, there's not a lot. And a lot of times it's just easy for me to get undercarbed on that lifestyle. So that's why I say scrap the raw till a certain time and just go for what you really want to focus on. So it's based off of apes. 50% is fruit, but I'm totally okay because the overall fats are so low. I'm totally okay with going back and forth between cooked, raw, sweet, savory, whatever. I feel it's too restrictive. Raw Till 4 is too restrictive to go this, that. It never worked for me in that sense. Again, Raw Till 4 totally worked for me overall. But I just think this is a little bit better to say, you know what? If I want to have rice for breakfast, if that's what I have, obviously Raw Till 4 is a backup plan. You technically could eat it, but it makes you feel guilty. I'm perfectly okay with having rice. See, my body will tell me if I have, let's say I have some crackers that have these really good, no salt, no fat crackers. And let's say I just am so busy that that's all I can eat. Like, again, on Raw Till 4, I would just be like, oh, no, that's not optimal. I know I could, but it's not optimal. So I'll just wait, get super undercarbed and then binge. Well, here, I'm going to go ahead and have my good crackers. I'm going to go ahead and have that rice to get the calories in. No fucking guilt whatsoever because I don't care if I eat Raw Till. If you like having rice with sugar for breakfast, have rice with sugar for breakfast, And just a little input there. If you haven't seen the Dr. Greger video, if you add just a little bit of fruit to anything that's like high glycemic or high carb, it's going to keep your blood sugars from elevating that much. So even just even juice doesn't have to have the fiber in there. Even if you're drinking juice with your rice in the morning, it's going to be better than just eating the rice plain, especially if you're worried about high blood sugars, which I'm not, because the fat is really the culprit. Anyway, that's a whole other video. Come back for the next video and I'll talk more about the specifics of exactly what you should be eating, and then we'll talk about what you should be doing. It's a lifestyle as well. I'm gonna not be, again, so exclusionary. I realize it's a diet. It is a diet. I'm not gonna say it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, but there is a diet that goes with a lifestyle on Mio Paleo. So I just have to share it with you guys. Let me know what you think so far and stay tuned for more. I can't wait to share it with you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.